Hi everyone, it's Ann Huffman. I just want to show you how to create your own distressed images. They're really easy to do. The only thing that caution you on is as you select your distress patterns from Google to build up your folder or your library of certain type of images, is you're going to have to trace these unless you're doing all print and cut on the printable HTV or printable adhesive vinyl. So let me just show you how they're done. I'm going to group these and move them out of the way. The distress, I'm just going to make a duplicate here. The distress pattern, whichever one you choose, it needs to be traced. So the first thing you want to do is to go ahead and trace your distress pattern. And I'm going to increase this default threshold to get more of the pattern in there. I'll just use the arrow key to increase it a little bit to get a little bit more of this. And that looks good. So I'll say trace. And this is the distress pattern here. And who knows, you might get bored one day and decide to trace several of these and put them all into one file. So just for the sake of making them more visible, I'm going to just make this black, and I'll add the line because the default color for all lines is red, of course. So now I have this, and that's just for me to be able to see it. And so let's type out mini. And it doesn't really matter what font you use, of course. The thicker the font, I think the more impact it will have. So let's see, with mini, I'll give her this purple color. And if you notice, the stress pattern that I've traced is on the bottom. Well, it needs to be on the top. So I've clicked it. So I'm just going to say bring it to the front. Now it's to the front. And I'm going to try and position it to where I get however much of this distress look that I want. I don't like a lot of tracing, so that probably will work for me. And I'm just going to drag these over it so that it captures most of my word underneath. So it's on the front, the word mini is on the bottom, and let me duplicate this again so I don't have to come back and retrace it. And I'll just give it this blue color. There you go. So I don't have to worry about that. So now you want to select both of these and open up the modify panel and select subtract. Now with text, text does not have to be traced, and that's why I didn't trace it. Let me right click on it now and say group. And now we have mini that is distress. The same thing can happen, of course, to her image that we have, but it has to be traced. So the two items have to be traced, the distress pattern and whatever image that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick trace on mini. Oh, I have it down open already. So let me just do a quick trace on her. And I guess I need to let it catch up with me. Okay, so that works. And I'll say trace. I'll move that one over there. Good thing I had this one. And I'll just go ahead and make yet another duplicate of it, um, just in case I decide I want to trace something else. And line is red. There we go. So for Minnie, now I'm going to just color her black. She needs to be on the bottom, and my distress needs to be on the top. And I think that it is, but just knowing how my eyes are, I'm going to right click on it and say bring to front just to make sure, and see it was on the bottom, because now we see more of the distress. So let me close out some of these panels that I was working with. So the distress is on the top. The image that I trace, well, I trace both of them, but the image is on the bottom and the distress pattern is on the top. So now we need to select both of them, and you can see the little box in here that has Minnie's face, and then the outer box that has the distress pattern. So I'm going to go to the modify panel and say subtract. Now I'm asking it to do quite a bit. So if you do this on your computer, make sure you've closed. I'm just going to right click on it now in group. Make sure you close other windows. If not, it could crash on you because it will try to absorb all of the available memory that it can. So try to close everything, especially the internet. So now we have our Minnie that is ready to cut, and then when you read, you're weeding out the white pieces that you see here. And I have a lot of smaller pieces, so I probably should have gone one extra step. Is you see all these little bits here, would have been to click off of it and try and just select some of these little bits and delete them where I can with it. And if you can't see them, just highlight it again, right click and say make a compound path, release compound path. Should have shown it. Let me go over here and say no color and see what pops up. Yeah, that kind of sort of shows you some of these little pieces that you may not want to have as distress, but that's all it is to it. If you have any questions, of course, you can always tag me in. Thanks for watching.